A young CEO stranded on a lonely road. A black cop stops to help. But when their eyes met, something sparked. Neither knew that one small act of kindness would lead to a love that would challenge two worlds and nearly tear them apart. The sun was rising over the city skyline, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. It should have been a perfect morning, but not for Sasha Carter. Sasha was only 28, yet she had already become one of the youngest tech CEOs in the country. Her face was on magazine covers. Her company, Carter Technologies, had just launched a new app that was already changing the way people connected. On the outside, she looked like a woman who had it all. She drove a sleek silver luxury car, wore designer suits, and lived in a penthouse that looked like something from a movie. But that morning she felt tired. Not the kind of tired that a cup of coffee could fix, but the kind that comes from running for too long without rest. Her assistant had scheduled her back-to-back meetings in a new city, one she had never visited before. She didn't want to come, but business was business. Investors were expecting her. So she got into her car, typed the address into her GPS, and started driving through quiet roads and unfamiliar neighborhoods. About 40 minutes into the drive, her dashboard beeped, tire pressure low. She frowned. A few minutes later, she felt the car wobble and then thud, a loud, dragging sound. She pulled over to the side of a mostly empty road. Cars passed by once in a while, but it wasn't a busy highway. Trees lined the street, and she could see small houses in the distance. Birds chirped somewhere above. She stepped out and saw the problem right away. A flat tire, completely ruined. No, she whispered, checking her phone. No signal. She walked in a small circle, holding up her phone, hoping for one bar. Nothing. Frustration bubbled up in her. She had no idea how to change a tire. She had grown up in cities, gone to business school, built apps, led teams, but this was not her world. She leaned against the car door and closed her eyes. Why today? She muttered. Minutes passed. Still no signal. Still no help. She was about to try walking toward the houses in the distance when she heard the slow sound of a car pulling up behind her. Turning around, she saw a black and white police SUV stop. The driver got out. He was tall, in his mid-30s, with warm brown skin and a calm face. His uniform was neat and his eyes kind. He took off his sunglasses and spoke gently. "Everything okay, ma'am?" Sasha hesitated. She wasn't used to asking for help, especially not from strangers, but something in his voice made her feel safe. "I've got a flat tire," she said, forcing a smile. "And no signal. Not the best combo." He nodded. "Let me take a look." She stepped aside as the officer crouched next to the tire. "Yeah, this one's not going anywhere," he said with a small chuckle. "You got a spare in the trunk?" "I think so," Sasha replied. "I've never used it." He smiled up at her. "Don't worry, you're not the first," he introduced himself. "I'm Officer Jordan Brooks. I patrol this area." "Sasha." "Carter?" she replied. His eyebrows lifted a little. "Carter? As in Carter Tech?" Sasha laughed softly. "Yeah, that's me." "Well," he said, opening the trunk and pulling out the spare. "Today, even CEOs need a helping hand." For the next 20 minutes, Jordan worked on the tire. Sasha offered to help, but he just smiled and told her to stay clean. She had a meeting to get to. As he worked, they talked. He told her about the neighborhood, about the kids he mentored on weekends, about his little sister who just got into college. Sasha listened, surprised by how easy it felt to talk to him. He didn't treat her like a CEO, not like a celebrity, just a person. When he finally finished, he stood up, wiped his hands, and smiled. "There you go. You're all set." She looked at him, truly looked at him. Sweat glistened on his forehead and his uniform was a little dusty now. But his eyes were gentle. He didn't expect anything. "No thanks, no recognition." "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. He shrugged. "It's my job to serve and protect. and help when I can. That's what the badge is for. Sasha didn't know what to say. In her world, people only helped when they wanted something in return. Investors wanted profits, employees wanted promotions. Even some friends just wanted the spotlight she carried. But Jordan, he just wanted to help. "Thank you, Officer Brooks," she said sincerely. "Really?" He nodded. "You be safe now. And if you ever need help again, call the station. Or, well, hope I'm on patrol again." He started to turn back to his car, but something stopped her. She called out, "Hey, Jordan?" He turned. "Yeah?" She hesitated. "Can I buy you a coffee sometime? As a thank you?" His smile was soft but surprised. "You don't have to." "I know," she said. "But I want to." He nodded after a pause. "All right. Coffee? Sounds good." She smiled, feeling something warm in her chest. As he drove away, Sasha stood by her car staring at the road ahead. She had come to this city expecting just another meeting, just another deal. But something told her she had just met someone who might change her life. 3 weeks had passed since Sasha Carter had a flat tire and met Officer Jordan Brooks. Most people would have forgotten by now, but not Sasha. No matter how busy her schedule was, no matter how many meetings filled her calendar, or how many business calls she took, her mind kept going back to that quiet road, the warm sun, and the man who didn't just fix her tire, but made her feel human. It was strange. Sasha had spent years building a name for herself, climbing her way to the top in an industry dominated by people who didn't look or sound like her. She was proud of her accomplishments, but success had come at a price. She often felt lonely, tired, like she was always performing. But with Jordan, there were no masks. He didn't care about her title. He didn't ask about her company's value. He just cared if she was okay. That feeling stayed with her. And so, one Friday afternoon, after wrapping up a meeting in the same city, she made a bold move. She stopped by the local police station. "Hi," she told the woman at the front desk. "I'm looking for Officer Jordan Brooks. Is he here?" The woman looked surprised but smiled warmly. "He's out on community detail today. There's a neighborhood cleanup and youth event at the park. He's helping organize it." Sasha thanked her and got the directions. When she arrived at the park, the first thing she saw was kids laughing. Dozens of them running, painting walls, sweeping the walkways. Volunteers handed out snacks. A small local band played soft music near the trees. And then she saw him, Jordan, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt with the words, "Protect, Serve, Inspire" printed across the front. No badge, no uniform. Just a man smiling as he helped a little boy hold up a paintbrush to reach the top of a fence. Sasha felt something stir in her chest. He wasn't just kind, he was good. She walked over slowly. Jordan turned and noticed her. His smile grew. "Well, if it isn't Ms. Carter." Sasha laughed. "You remembered." "I remember people who offer me coffee and disappear for 3 weeks, he teased. "I've been working," she said, a little embarrassed. "Figures. You tech folks are always running," he replied, wiping paint off his hand. She nodded toward the kids. "So this is what you do when you're not fixing tires?" He shrugged. "The city pays me to wear the badge, but this is what I love." He explained that once a month he helped organize cleanup events and youth activities in neighborhoods that didn't have many resources. "It keeps the kids busy, gives them pride in their space," he said. Sasha was impressed. Her world was filled with numbers, deadlines, goals. This was different. This was real. "Need an extra pair of hands?" she asked. He looked surprised. Then he grinned. "Grab a broom." The next hour passed like a dream. Sasha swept sidewalks, handed out juice boxes, and even helped a shy girl pick up trash with long tongs. She hadn't felt this lighthearted in years. Every now and then, she'd catch Jordan watching her with a small smile. She wasn't sure what he saw, but it made her heart flutter. After the cleanup, they sat together on a bench under a tree. The sun was starting to set. "You're full of surprises, Sasha," Jordan said, sipping a cold drink. Didn't expect the CEO of Carter Tech to be out here cleaning parks. I didn't expect a police officer to be teaching kids how to paint fences, she replied. They both laughed. Then slowly, the laughter faded into a warm silence. You know, Sasha began, when I built my company, I thought that once I made it, once I had the money, the fame, the success, I'd be happy. Jordan turned toward her. But lately, she continued, I wake up and I feel tired, empty, like I'm constantly chasing something I can't even name. He nodded, listening. But that day, when you helped me with my tire, and today, watching you with those kids, I don't know, it made me remember that people are what matter. Not profits, not awards, just moments like this. Jordan leaned back on the bench. The world needs dreamers, builders, people like you, but sometimes the heart just wants to be seen. Sasha looked at him. You see people, Jordan, that's your gift. He smiled softly. And you make things happen. That's yours. Their eyes met and held. No grand music played, no dramatic kiss. But in that moment, something beautiful bloomed. Deep connection, not just attraction, but understanding. The next few weeks brought more meetings and more meetups, sometimes coffee, sometimes long walks in the park. Once Sasha invited him to a leadership event her company was hosting. Jordan came in a simple shirt and spoke from his heart. Everyone loved him. He didn't try to impress. He didn't try to be anyone but himself, and Sasha admired that. For the first time in years, she laughed more. She felt grounded. Her staff noticed it too. You're glowing lately, her assistant teased. Sasha just smiled and kept her secret. One evening, after dinner at a quiet diner, Jordan walked her to her car. Can I be honest with you? Sasha asked. Always, he said. I didn't think someone like me could connect with someone like you. What do you mean, on someone like you? She hesitated. I live in a different world, Jordan. I run a company. I travel all the time. I'm in meetings with people twice my age trying to prove I belong. It's fast, loud, and lonely. He looked at her kindly. You're not alone anymore. Not if you don't want to be. Her heart skipped. You sure you're ready for all that comes with me? She whispered. He stepped closer. Are you ready for a man who believes in love? Service and truth? She laughed softly, blinking back emotion. I think I am. As he opened the car door for her, Sasha felt a quiet joy she hadn't known in years. Not because of titles or cars or money, but because someone saw her, and she saw him, and just maybe, this was the beginning of something real. 6 months later, the world around Sasha Carter and Officer Jordan Brooks looked the same, but everything had changed. They were now more than just casual friends. More than two people who had met on the side of a quiet road. They were something deeper. They hadn't labeled it yet. But every late-night phone call, every coffee shared in small cafes, every walk under the city lights had drawn them closer together. It wasn't perfect. Their worlds were still very different. Sasha ran a tech company with 200 employees. She lived in a high-rise, flew across the country for speaking events, and sat at boardroom tables filled with people who expected her to be strong, 24/7. Jordan lived in a quiet neighborhood on the city's edge. He worked night shifts, mentored teenagers. His world was slower, softer, more grounded. At first, their differences felt refreshing, but slowly the outside world began to whisper. People started asking questions. Her assistant asked if it was wise to be seen with a cop from a working-class background. A journalist wrote a small article titled, Tech Queen Seen with Local Officer, Romance or Risk. Some board members gave Sasha sideways looks in meetings, subtly suggesting she should keep her image clean. Even Jordan felt the pressure. Some of his fellow officers made light comments. Dating a CEO, huh? You trying to upgrade Brooks? Or worse. She's out of your league, man. They both pretended to ignore it, but the weight of two different worlds slowly crept between them. One evening, Sasha and Jordan sat in her apartment. The skyline sparkled outside the windows, but inside the mood was quiet. Jordan looked at her as she stared at her phone. "You okay?" he asked gently. She nodded but didn't look up. "Just tired." He reached for her hand. "You've been just tired for 3 days now." Sasha sighed. "There's a board meeting next week. Investors are asking questions. My name is in another blog. Some people think I'm distracted." Jordan paused, pulling his hand away. "Because of me?" She didn't answer right away. "It's not your fault," she finally said. "But this world I live in, they expect me to be perfect, sharp, polished, and I don't fit the mold," he said quietly. She looked up, eyes soft. "That's not what I meant. But it's what they think," Jordan said. "And maybe part of you thinks it too." Silence fell between them. Not cold, but heavy. Jordan stood up and walked to the window. He looked out, then spoke softly. "Never asked for any of this, I just changed your tire." Sasha chuckled through her sadness. "I know." He turned back to her. "Sasha, I care about you. Deeply. But I also don't want to become someone who makes you feel torn. I want to add peace to your life, not pressure." She got up and crossed the room. "You do add peace," she said. "More than anyone. I've never done this before. Love someone who isn't part of my world." He looked at her. "Maybe it's not about having the same world. Maybe it's about building a new one together." Her eyes welled up. She had never heard anyone speak to her like that. Not in business, not in friendship, not even in her own family. That night she didn't sleep much. 2 days later, everything changed. Sasha received a call from her mother. Her grandfather, the man who raised her after her father died, had suffered a stroke. He was in critical condition at a hospital in their hometown, a small town 2 hours away. She dropped everything and drove there alone. For hours, she sat by his bedside, holding his frail hand, praying for him to wake up. Tears stained her cheeks. She felt like a child again. Her phone buzzed and she didn't want to answer. But when she saw Jordan's name, something inside her softened. She answered with a soft, trembling voice. He didn't say much, just, "I'm on my way." 2 hours later, he walked into the hospital waiting room. No flowers, no dramatic speech, just his quiet presence, his calm voice, and arms that held her while she cried. That night, as they sat in the hospital cafeteria drinking terrible coffee, Sasha looked at him, really looked at him. No suit, no stage, no boardroom. Just love. Real. Steady. Safe. She whispered, "You came." He looked at her gently. Always. And right there, in the middle of a quiet hospital, she knew. This wasn't a story about different backgrounds or outside opinions. This was a story about two people choosing each other. Months passed. Her grandfather recovered slowly. Sasha began splitting her time between the city and her hometown to care for him. Jordan often joined her, helping out with groceries, making him laugh, and sharing old stories. One weekend, Sasha invited Jordan to a tech youth conference. She introduced him to the crowd during her keynote. "This is Officer Jordan Brooks," she said, holding his hand. "He's not just the man I love, he's the man who reminded me what success really means. Not in titles or money or awards, but in kindness, in service, in being the kind of person who shows up, not when it's easy, but when it's hard." And the crowd stood and clapped, not for her, for them. That night, walking outside beneath the stars, Sasha looked at Jordan and said, "I want to build that new world with you, the one you talked about." He smiled, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Then let's start now." Epilogue. 1 year later, Sasha launched a new program inside Carter Tech, Tech for Peace, a partnership with local officers to teach technology skills to underserved youth. Jordan was the first officer to join. Together, They traveled to schools, mentored teenagers, and gave scholarships to students who wanted to build better futures. They still had challenges. They still had critics. But every morning, they woke up knowing one thing. Their love was built on truth, not image, on soul, not spotlight. And when people asked, "How did it all begin?" Sasha would smile and say, "It started with a flat tire and a man who showed up. The end."